the Knicks are one of the top teams in the league. At this point, they're not as good as the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder. And the fact that they're 0-7 against the three top teams, and they've been beaten by essentially 20 points per game. These games aren't close. Those teams are significantly better at this point than the Knicks. And I think to expect them to go into the playoffs, win their first round matchup, and then beat the Celtics in round 2, and then beat the Cavs in round 3, and then potentially the Thunder or the Lakers in the finals, that's almost impossible. I think the chance of the Knicks making a run to the finals and winning is extremely unlikely this year because they're not as good as those teams.
Philly pride and Sistad soul. Andrew rapping and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams right behind the scenes. It seems Simbers and White hear the call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear, join the chat. It's time to hear sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, Sistad, glad unite. Philly and Y in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 31. We have a fun one this week. We're going to talk about a lot of relevant topics in New York and Philadelphia sports. We're going to talk about the Knicks 0-7 against the top teams in the NBA, and I say top with emphasis for a reason. We're going to get into that. Joel Embiid officially out for the season. We'll talk about that and the process in which that decision was made. There's been a big trade in the NFL. Sistad's not happy. It's not a player that involves the Eagles or that could have been a fit for the Eagles, but he's still not happy. Speaking of the Eagles, Myles Garrett trade rumors. Darius Slay released. We'll talk. The Rangers make a trade as they start to indicate that they're sellers at the deadline. We're gonna mock New York fans on Twitter, and we'll wrap up with subscriber questions. So getting right into it, the New York Knicks are 0-7 against the top teams in the NBA.
We are the New York Knicks.
We are the New York Knicks. Go New York, go. So the reason why I say top, because this is the story, that's the rhetoric, the narrative that's out there, right? Like, the Knicks can't beat the top teams. But let me ask you something, dude.
Wow. Doesn't sound like you're buying it.
There's a distinction. I just want to clarify what we're talking about, and then I want to talk about it. Do you consider the Denver Nuggets one of the top teams in the NBA?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. Do you consider a team that's the number 2 seed in the Western Conference to be one of the top teams in the NBA?
I guess. I don't necessarily think that makes them true contenders. I mean,
no, that's not what I'm saying. No, I'm not contenders, not true contenders, because that's very subjective. But just one of the top teams in the NBA. A number 2 seed in the West.
So no. I would say, well, the number 2 seed in the West right now is the Lakers.
The Lakers and Nuggets are tied.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is when the narrative that's out there, the Knicks are 0-7 against the top teams, there's some truth to it, but I just wanted to clarify there's a distinction. The Knicks are 0-7 against the top 3 teams in the NBA.
Okay.
The Celtics, the Cavs, and the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks are 2-0 against the Grizzlies. They're 2-0 against the Nuggets. They're 1-1 against the Pacers. They have the Lakers coming up. They're 0-1 against. They're 2-0 against the Bucks. So there's among the top teams, they're not winless. Is kind of my point. Now they are, like I said, 0-7 against the top 3 teams: the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Cavs. And I want to get into that. I have a bunch of thoughts on this. But first off, what's your take on this? What do you think? Do you think this is something that's problematic? Do you think would you look at this and say, "Oh yeah, the Knicks they're not going to be able to beat those teams"? This is an indication that they're not as good on that level of those teams.
Well, I don't know. I guess it is a little bit of an indication, especially that isn't the point differential for those 7 games like pretty bad for the Knicks.
Should I get into those 7 games right now?
Sure.
Before I do that, though, I just want to ask you one thing. When you, as a fan of the Philadelphia teams, let's just say a fan of the Sixers, do you typically, and I know they won't be playoffs this year, but do you typically go into a playoff series saying, "Oh, well, we were 2-1 against this team in the regular season"?
No, not necessarily.
No,
unless there's
I don't do
something
that.
just very, yeah, I wouldn't, again, unless there's just like a very clear matchup disadvantage or something that, that was clearly working for the one team in the regular season. But Yeah, I think playoffs is just a totally different animal, different
In all
monster now.
sports.
Right. Now the one thing that would make me a little weary if I was a Knicks fan is that the Knicks, God bless them, they try harder than everybody in the regular season, and then when they get to the playoffs, the other team tries maybe not just as hard as them because nobody really grinds like the Knicks do, but the intensity is certainly ratcheted up, obviously, in a playoff series. So I wouldn't look into
Yeah,
it too much again. I think I would just look into more like matchup specific stuff,
I agree.
and I would look at point differential is like a big thing for me. Like if you're 0-7 against really good teams in the NBA and your point differential is you're -9 in those 7 games, like that's those are one possession games. So obviously in a playoff series, things go the other way, so the outcome could very well be different.
Yeah, I want to get into point differential. I want to get into the situation. So the Knicks are 0-7 against those top three teams versus Celtics are 0-3. The average score differential is negative 20.3. So they've lost all three games on average by 20 points. That's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Versus the Cavs, they're 0-2. The average score differential is negative 21.5.
Wow.
Really, really bad. Versus OKC in 2 games. Now, the first game, they lost by 10, but this is why an NBA point differential doesn't really tell a lot of the story because they lost by 10, but they were up by 10 with like 5 minutes left. So versus OKC, they're 0-2 with an average score differential of negative 17.5. That's bad. That's not terrible, but that's bad.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned before that the caveat to this, the distinction is against all the other top-ish teams, the Knicks have shown that they're actually better than those teams in the regular season. So versus the Pacers are 1-1, differential is essentially even. Nuggets 2-0, average score differential against the Denver Nuggets plus 18.5.
There you go.
Really good. Versus the Grizzlies 2-0, average score differential plus 19. Really good. Versus the Bucks 2-0, average score differential plus 28. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think this shows that the Knicks are one of the top teams in the league. At this point, they're not as good as the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder. And I think that while I don't go into a playoff series saying, oh, well, the Knicks were 2-2 against this team in the regular season, or 3-0, or 4-0, or 0-4. I think, like we were saying, the fact that they're 0-7 against the three top teams and they've been beaten by essentially 20 points per game. Like these games aren't close, even though a couple of them have been close. But overall, these games aren't close. Those teams are significantly better at this point than the Knicks. And I think to expect the Knicks to go into a playoff series, I think I said this on an earlier episode, is to expect them to go into the playoffs, win their first round matchup, and then beat the Celtics in round 2, and then beat the Cavs in round 3, and then potentially the Thunder or the Lakers in the finals. That's almost impossible. I think the chance of the Knicks making a run to the finals and winning is extremely unlikely this year because they're not as good as those teams.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to say is it sucks. I mean, if you're a fan of a team that's in the Eastern Conference and you have to go through 2 of those teams, that just makes your path that much harder. So, look, I think they have a chance. I think didn't they just get Robinson back? Did he come back yesterday? Is that right?
He's last Friday. He's played 2
Last
games.
Friday. Okay, so that's going to help. I mean, he's going to get more acclimated into game shape and into playing with the new. There's a whole new set of pieces for him to learn how to play with. So he's got
but not necessarily though, because he's not starting.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But anyway, he'll work himself back into game shape. That's really going to help shore up the defense for their second unit. And yeah, I mean you know how it is in the playoffs, man. The Celtics and the Thunder specifically, like all these teams are really deep, and once the playoffs starts, it goes to a 7-8 man rotation. So the bench is going to shrink a little bit. Hopefully that can, for your sake, benefit the Knicks a little bit. But I think
the Knicks bench will stay the same.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think they have a shot, man. Obviously, he's awesome. He's one of the clutchest players in the league. Towns is playing really well. They got Bridges. They have your boy Anunoby. That's what it takes. The thing that sucks about the Celtics is that they just have so many guys who are long, athletic, defend really well. So it's just a really tough matchup. The Celtics are as close to a perfect team in today's NBA that you're going to find.
That's true. I agree. I have a bunch of thoughts on this, though. Big picture thoughts, mainly. I think the biggest one is this. I talk to Knicks fans. I see them on some of the podcasts I listen to. And there's this idea out there, this feeling that they're so upset that we can't win this year. They don't need to win this year. Like, they don't need to be as good as the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder this year. This is a core roster that Josh Hart's turning 30. They're all under 30, other than Josh Hart, who's turning 30 this week. So
toughest guy in the league.
Toughest guy in the league, yeah. So they have years where they can grow, and they can also add pieces. And there's tradable if they need to. If as the years go on and they deem they need to make a switch, they need to make a change. They have some contracts that are tradable. They can trade Bridges if they needed to. There's things they could trade Mitchell Robinson. There's things that they could do to tinker with the roster, but otherwise the team just needs to grow and develop together. Thinking about the Cavs, why do people like fans and media have some bias against the Cavs? It's because it's the same core roster. Oh, they haven't, they've been soft, people say, or they haven't been very successful. We've seen them lose in the playoffs. So people have some bias towards them. Well, there's something about that. There's something. You take a core roster and you let them develop together and you let them grow together. And year 3, year 4, one of these years they just break out, which has happened this year for the Cavs. So I think some of the big picture for Knicks fans to keep in mind is it's okay if the Knicks don't win this year. It's okay if they're not as good as those teams this year. They can be as good next year. They could be it could be the year after that. Something also to keep in mind, big picture, is you shouldn't just assume that the Cavs and the Celtics and the Thunder, as great as they look right now, are going to be at this level 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So I think big picture, the Knicks are in a good spot with this roster.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the continuity is a really key piece that doesn't really get talked about as much. Speaking from experience that, during, and we'll get into it, but the entire process era, the Joel Embiid era, there's been no continuity. It's been
A lot of change, yep.
So much change, so much turnover from year to year, and every single year, Embiid basically has to learn to play with a whole new cast of characters. Now,
yep,
he's certainly not blameless in the situation, but yeah, I think look, I think that they're in a very good spot. I'm very envious of them. I know you're enjoying it, so I'm happy for you. It sounds like a lot of your friends are stressing out.
for sure.
Yeah, but no, enjoy it. And also, like, I know there's not any data or analytics to suggest this, but maybe the injury luck goes your way this year. Obviously the entire team was depleted by the end of that Pacers series last year, and the Celtics have been just like remarkably healthy, like the entire Tatum and Brown run. Like, nobody ever gets hurt. I know Porzingis missed some time last year, but he was really good in the games that he did play. So maybe get a little bit of luck along the way.
Yeah, maybe.
But you got to put yourself in position. Would it be the craziest thing in the world if they go up and steal a game in Boston, and then Boston coming to the Mecca for a round two series? Dude, there's no way. No way they can come
You
into
can't
that
help
building.
yourself. You just can't help yourself.
Listen, I get it. The Celtics are champions, but they have never experienced playoff
Okay,
Mecca.
here we go.
So,
all right. Okay, here we go.
would
In
it
all
be the
seriousness,
craziest thing in the world if the Knicks go up to Boston and win one of the first 2 playoff games? I don't think it would. I don't think so at all.
I think that while in the regular season they've shown an inability to compete with them, I think in the playoffs they will play competitive games.
For sure. I would be shocked. Completely shocked if they got blown out like they've been during the season.
You said something about like telling me I should enjoy it, right? So, what's funny is I've been thinking about this a lot, and sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't want to talk to Knicks fans, because to tell someone that's really upset, and I do this with you all the time, not to be upset doesn't really work. It usually makes people more upset or just annoyed at me.
Yes.
Like, now I'm not upset about the thing I'm upset about. Now I'm annoyed at you for telling me not to be upset.
Yeah.
So,
but you're not upset, so it's good.
No, I'm not upset. But
I know
a lot of Knicks fans are. So I don't
Well,
always tell them, like I don't always correct them, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this platform to do that. So like the fans that are complaining and angry and just criticizing the team, I think they need some perspective. We had like a 20-year period where the team made the playoffs 3 times. They have 22 games left. They need to win 10 games. They can go 10-12 to get to 50 wins. It'd be the second year in a row they won 50 games. Dude, you know how many times the Knicks have won 50 plus games in a season? No, let me rephrase that. Can you guess the last time they did it?
I would say 2000, 2014.
The last time they did consecutive years in a row.
Oh, consecutive years.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I don't know. 99, 2000.
You're getting close. So in 92, they won 51. In 93, they won 60. In 94, they won 57. In 95, they won 55. So they won 50 plus 4 straight years. This would be the first time that they won 50 plus games in consecutive seasons since 1994 to 1995.
Wow. Back when you were just a
5.
baby.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just going on Basketball Reference and looking at their win totals from year for this is as and the people I talk to, Knicks fans I talk to, this is what we've been through. 37 wins, 41, 21, 17, 29, 31, 32, 17, 37. Oh, yeah, the mellow 54, 36, 42, 29, 32, 23, 33, 23. I'm not going to keep going down this list. No one wants to hear me say that. And you're upset that they're going to win 55 games this year. Have some perspective. This is a franchise that's been unstable, that's been terrible, that's been really pretty disgraceful. And you finally have a stable franchise. You have a stable front office led by Leon Rose, a stable coaching staff led by Tibbs, a stable roster led by Brunson, and that's going to win 50 plus games for the second straight year. Potentially could compete for the third best win total in franchise history. And you have fans that are just really upset. What a concept.
Well, I mean, do I have to say it? This is New York, man. You know, this is what you get. But no, I think, listen, I am very, very jealous of Knicks fans. It looks like they're having a lot of fun, as they should be. It's a really
I don't think they are, though.
It's a fun group of
I don't think
guys
they are
to
having
watch.
fun. I think they're stressed out about that they're not as good as the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder.
So
That's what their focus is.
I don't think they should be, because I think that they're another year away from insurmountable pressure. So I think that they're kind of still, even though they're really good, they're still in kind of that,
Yeah, they're building this up.
That upward trajectory,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Whereas to relate it to the 76ers, not to keep on doing that, but that's just kind of how I
That's what you do. You're in your Philly bubble. We know that.
That's how I view the world, is through the Philadelphia prism. But
It really
the
is, though.
Sixers, so when the Sixers got good, they did not have the fun first
Build
round exit team, right? They went from, they were the worst team in the league the year before, then everybody got healthy and everybody started playing, and they were the 3 seed. They won 50 games, and all of a sudden they're in a bloodbath second round series with the Celtics. And then after that, they just that was it. Then they started making their moves, and they trade for Jimmy Butler, and there was no they went from worst team in the league to super high expectations, you have to win now, really quickly. And
yeah,
I think in hindsight, I think that you want a little bit of those just kind of fun, happy to be here type years. We'll see what happens. And then as the team grows together and has continuity, then after 3-4 years, then you could start to feel the pressure.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think they're not even, I mean, this is the first year of Towns and Bridges being on the team. So I get
It's
it.
completely different.
Brunson's
It's a
been
completely
there.
different team.
Right.
They went from this being this great defensive team to being this 5-out offensive dynamic offensive team.
Yeah.
Much different.
Yep, that's what I mean. So yeah, enjoy it. This is year one of a probably 4 or 5 year window. So
yeah, I think so.
So you're gonna have more cracks at it, and
those
other teams are going to, from what the salary cap nerds say, the Boston thing is not super sustainable for really more than another couple years. Holiday's getting old, Horford's getting old, Porzingis is getting old.
Yeah, the main two guys will be there, though.
Yes, for sure. But Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Porzingis are massive parts of their team. So
Yes, the Drew Holiday and Porzingis trades took them to another level for sure. And you also said
Don't
something,
even
man.
get me
Like,
started on those. My God.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to move on quickly. So you mentioned continuity a couple times now. Yeah, think about these teams. Think about the best teams. The Celtics. How long is this? I know they added Holiday and KP, but this is a team that with Tatum and Brown, they've been developing. They've been growing together. The Cavs, Garland, Mitchell,
Mobley.
This is a team. Mobley, Allen. They've been developing and growing together. It's been the same core. The Thunder too. I mean, a bunch of draft picks that have developed together. Jalen Williams, SGA. This is a team. These are teams that have had continuity for years now. And the teams that haven't had continuity, yeah. I mean, the Nuggets are an example too. I mean, almost every team outside of the Lakers who just were gifted, a top 5 player in the league,
God,
are
yeah.
at the top of the league because of continuity, because they've had core rosters that are developing together.
Yep, totally agree.
So Knicks fans, calm down. You're fine.
Play
The Knicks
the
are going to win.
Aaron Rodgers sounder. Come on.
The Knicks are going to win 55 games.
Cheer him up.
And you're upset. Yeah, seriously. I want to talk about cheering you up.
What do you think? Hold on. What do you think what do you think is no, this is a serious question. What do you think is like an acceptable, not you, what would you say your friends think is like an acceptable outcome for the season? So basically they're on a collision course with the Celtics in round 2. Celtics are going to be the 2 seed, Knicks are going to be the 3 seed. What would you deem as an acceptable outcome
in like their eyes
series?
or most Knicks fans' minds?
Yeah,
it's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. I
Knicks and 4,
I don't know.
Only acceptable outcome.
No, I really don't know the answer. Do they really? I think most of them would probably say like it depends on. They need to play a close, tight series with the Celtics in round 2. Some of them might say they need to get past the Celtics and make the conference finals. I don't know.
It's a tough ask.
It is. It's unrealistic. It's possible, but it's unrealistic.
Dude, I think if they get I think if they get an injured Porzingis in round 2, which is very possible because he's very injury prone.
He's hurt all the time.
I think that they have a real shot. I mean, people seem, I don't know. You know me, I've been on the Celtics bandwagon since 2017. That was like one of our first like real arguments on the phone. Was this? It was after the Celtics beat the Sixers in 2018, and I was
the Celtics are going to dominate the league for the next 10 years. It's
That's
over.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it took them a while to actually win.
Not wrong, just early. But
I mean, kind of wrong.
Yeah, I forget where I was going with that, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's possible. Oh, what I was saying is Horford. Like Horford just seems to age very gracefully. People think that he's old and not as good anymore. I don't know. So if he's good. Asked to, if he's asked to be the starter in the playoff series,
for sure,
having to guard Towns, having to run out to the perimeter.
I don't think they would have him guard Towns though. They would have him on Hart, and they would have Drew on Towns. Or like
that's insane. Yeah.
But Towns struggles with that actually.
Really?
He struggles with smaller guys on him.
Oh, he's soft.
He really does struggle. It's with smaller guys on him. He likes the bigger centers that he can drive past.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, you get like someone like Drew Holiday on him, and he pressures him on the ball.
Drew is way too small. There's many other guys they could put. Really? Yeah, I would.
They've done it in some of the games this year. Yeah, it's crazy. Tatum also can be on them a little bit too.
Yeah, so they all can. Tatum, Brown, Derek White. Yeah, so it's insane.
It is. All right, Joel Embiid out for the season. Surprise, right? You're shocked?
No, I guess I'm not shocked.
I'm assuming you're not upset about it. You're like, well, the season's over. Who cares?
I'm upset because it feels like it's just the end of his career. It feels like it's oh god, yeah. It just feels like it's the end of an era. It's sad. I know people have their mixed feelings about Embiid. I've always been a very big fan of his. He certainly comes with his annoying antics and stuff that he does, of course, but I don't know. It's he's one of our guys. We watched him come into the league when he was 14, when he's 14 in 2014. And it's just a really like cool story, man. I mean, the dude didn't like touch a basketball till he was like 16 years old. He gets discovered in some like random African basketball camp. They bring him over to the United States. Now he's playing on Kansas alongside Andrew Wiggins. Gets hurt. Is the number 3 overall pick in the draft. Sits out the first 2 years of his career. His brother, who he's very close with, dies when he's sitting out for the second year of his career, and then he just develops an unbelievable game on both ends of the floor. He is the best 76er of my lifetime. I don't even think it's close. It just sucks, man. Management, they did him no favors. They just made some really, really stupid moves throughout his career. So in that sense, I feel bad for him. He seems to be just kind of unraveling, like mentally. Looks like he's really frustrated that he can't do what he wants to do. His body just won't allow him to do it. So it just feels weird. I mean, if you read some of the stuff that they're saying about his knee, like, the Sixers are apparently telling him, hey, just keep playing on it. Like, you just have to learn to live with it. This is your new reality. So, but he obviously can't move. He's in a great deal of pain, and it shouldn't be like this. Like, Jonathan Kuminga fell on his knee in a game last January. He tore his meniscus. People tear their menisci all the time, right? It's usually like a 4 to 6 week injury. In some severe cases, they'll be out, 3 to 4 months. But like, this is good. This is over a year now that he sustained this injury, and they're so shady with the way that they've done it, and this whole ramp up process and playing in the Olympics, and it just doesn't, like, nothing has really smelled.
Well, that's
right?
not Sixers management. That's Embiid playing the Olympics. That's not Sixers management.
Right. Yes. No, but I mean right now, like how they've handled it basically since then. So they also gave him a really big contract extension this summer, which like they didn't have to do. He still had 2 years left on his deal. So that just looks like one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen. And now they're saying some of the treatments that so obviously what they're doing has not worked. It's not going to work. They're talking about there's like some weird like radiation treatment he can get in his knee. There was another thing saying that he can get this surgery where they like break his hip bone to try to alleviate the pressure that it's just super unorthodox, like ridiculous stuff. So there's obviously there's no clear path.
It's not getting better.
Fixing him. They don't know what to do with him. It's funny. A lot of people like on Twitter and on the radio say, "Oh, like just get the surgery, get the surgery." It's like there is no the surgery. There is none. Or else they done it. They would have done it by now. So yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's the beginning of the end. I don't think he's ever going to be an impact player anymore. Maybe. I mean, who knows? But he's 7'2". He's an enormous human being. And if you just look at the history of people who are that big in the NBA as they hit their 30s, like it doesn't, this is kind of what happens. So
I'm going to go in a different direction with this. I want to get your take on this. So there's a story out there that he goes over Daryl Morey and goes to Josh Harris, right?
Yes.
To make this decision that he's out for the rest of the season. Has this been confirmed? First of all, is that actually what happened? And then secondly, what do you make of that? Isn't that a little strange?
Dude, the Sixers they just always have these insane stories. Like there's never a shortage of them. I don't know. I do think that would be a little odd. By all accounts, Embiid seems to have a very good relationship with Daryl Morey, but I don't know. I mean, at this point, if I can put myself, as a fly on the wall, if he is telling the training staff, the doctors, like, this isn't working for me, and they just keep saying, no, keep playing on it, like, it's fine, you just have to keep playing, it's gonna be good. Like, I don't know, what else do you do at that point? Is it like just kind of a last resort kind of thing? I think it's I think it's ridiculous, but again, I just think this whole Embiid era has been ridiculous and full of wacky stories. And again, I think the guy's kind of like he's unraveling a little bit. I think he seems like he's just not enjoying himself. He seems like he's kind of having some mental
Yeah.
breakdowny kind of stuff. Like remember the beginning of the year when he pushed the reporter in the locker room? Like that's not normal stuff. I think
Yeah.
he's probably just incredibly frustrated at the situation. I think
Oh, for
this
sure.
was his last shot. And just think, I don't know, man, like think about last year before he got hurt, he was averaging 36 points per game. Like he was as dominant
I
as
know.
we'd ever
Crazy.
seen him
Incredible.
like 13 months ago. And now
Mhm.
he's this. And even in like that Knicks series, he dropped a 50 burger on the Knicks one of those games. And
He
like it
was
just
he was at like clearly like not close to 100% yet he was still amazing.
right, and he dropped 50 on a then good defensive team in that series. So it just sucks, man. I think it's really sad. Again, I love the guy. I know Sixers fans are kind of torn on him. I feel bad, and it just sucks because they are like they can't. He's untradeable. So like even if you wanted to get rid of him to tank, you can't trade him. No one's
Yeah.
probably gonna take it. Like, dude, I am fully in favor of just like literally everybody gets traded. Everybody except for like maybe McCain, but Maxi can go, Paul George can go, Embiid can go. But at this point, it's like you're gonna have to attach picks to Embiid just to get rid of him, and that's not how you rebuild the team.
So we have a subscriber question about this, about the future of what they should do. Do you want to just talk about this now, or do you want to hold off for that question?
No, we can hold off for the question.
Okay, because I think that's a really good conversation about like what they should do and what they could do going
Okay.
forward.
Yeah. Okay.
I think also from an NBA perspective, you have one of the most special talents that we've seen in a long time. What he can do on offense, he can do on defense. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. He's a monster down low. When he's at 100% or close, the way he tracks and protects the rim and plays help defense it's really incredible. He goes from the 3-point line, and all of a sudden he's blocking or contesting at the rim. It's pretty crazy. And even like it's hard to imagine him being able to be even close to that for an extended period ever again.
Yep.
So that
Yep.
sucks.
I totally
And it
agree,
sucks
and it
and
really
it sucks for you
sucks.
guys. It's any chances you had of this core of an Embiid-led team making a run does seem like it's over.
This is on me.
Oh, because you were so
Before the
excited.
season started,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Well,
so fired up. I was so positive. I thought they were going to be so good, and it's the worst season of my lifetime.
this is definitely worse than the process years because they were tanking. You knew they were going to be
Of
bad on
course,
purpose.
of course, of course.
Completely different. Yeah, for sure. There's been a trade in the NFL.
Oh God, here we go.
Big trade. You know what's so funny about this, man? Is when I texted you, was that how you found? Is that how you initially
Yes,
found out? Okay,
yes,
so Deebo Samuel gets traded for a fifth round pick to the Washington Commanders. Now, I don't know how most people would react. I just know the difference between me and you, how we react to a trade is just really hilarious because we're talking about a player that really had no use for either of the teams we root for, the Jets or the Eagles. He gets traded to a team that's not the teams we root for. That's not really a team that you hate. Yet you find a way to take this trade news and be upset about it. A player got traded to a team that you don't really care that much about, that wouldn't have been a fit for the Eagles, yet you're very upset about the trade. Is it just because the Commanders are up and coming and you're a little bit worried about them going forward? Or what exactly is it that has you upset about this trade?
yeah. So I think the biggest aspect of it is, yeah. I mean, this is a team that the Eagles played in the NFC Championship game, who
And blew
just
out.
and blew out, but still, this team was
Mhm.
in the championship game. Eagles will probably be a little worse next year. Maybe they'll be a little bit better. I'm sure. I don't think that they're going to blow them out by 30 something points if when they play each other next. So,
Yeah, but you're not a believer in the Commanders anyway, because we talked about
so
this, how
I'm
they found a way to win by a little couple points here and there, and it's not a stable way to win games in the NFL.
yes, that's all fair. But the simple fact of the matter is, I get annoyed Well, I mean, you would admit that
Trades.
this is going to be a contending team in the NFC East with the Eagles, right?
I think there's a chance. I'm not like very high. I don't think this like solidifies them as a contender. But
Okay. So I
I
just
think
think
they
that
go to answer your question. Yes, they go into the season as one of the say top 5 favorites in the NFC,
okay.
something like that.
Good. Yeah. So a contending team in the NFC.
Got better.
Yes, got better. Great move for them. I'm not the biggest Deebo Samuel fan. Like I just
Me
kind of
either.
think he's a product of Shanahan and runs wide
I
open like all the
wouldn't go
time.
to that extreme, but
He's
he's. Can I
obviously
just
very
add
good
something?
with the ball
Can I
in
just
his
add something?
hands.
Can I just yeah? Can I just add? He's not a typical receiver. The 49ers utilized his strengths very well. He's a very good player, but are his strengths as a player going to be magnified or utilized like the 49ers used him going forward? I would find that unlikely.
I mean, I think Cliff Kingsbury, who's their offensive coordinator, has he's not Kyle Shanahan, but he's still a very creative offensive
Yeah,
mind. So
he is.
he'll find ways to utilize him. Look, I just think it's super annoying when teams give away good players to contending teams for nothing. Like for nothing. And
That's yeah, no, that's what it is.
the idea of getting a very good receiver for the 30th pick of the fifth round is
Yeah,
bananas. It's
I agree.
ridiculous.
I agree
Like,
with you.
you don't think so? Even if there's no room on the Eagles or the Jets for him, like, you wouldn't have given up a fifth round pick. You
No,
couldn't have
no,
gotten a
no,
fifth round pick from the Jets, which would be 20 spots higher than
no, no,
Washington's.
no, no, no. No, the Jets wouldn't be offering that.
You couldn't have got the Jaguars' fifth round pick. The Jaguars, who had a really good rookie wide receiver, who's looking for a number 2 wide receiver, who seemingly has a new coaching staff, who's giving it one more shot with Trevor Lawrence. You couldn't have gotten a fifth round pick from Jacksonville. Like literally any team who's not the 49ers, the Chiefs, or the Eagles could have given you their fifth round pick or third or
Can
fourth
you
round pick, and it would have been a better deal.
can
But
you answer?
instead, no,
Wait,
let's
can
just
you?
give them away for nothing. Let's just give them away for nothing. Yeah, let's get essentially a sixth round
Dude,
pick
come
for
on,
them. Like
dude. Can
it's
you answer
ridiculous,
your?
dude. It is
Can you answer your own
ridiculous.
question? Can you answer your own question?
Sure.
Why do you think they would take that? And why do you think
Because they're
other
dumb.
like why do you
Because
think
they are
no?
incompetent. Because
So do you think
sometimes
they're
general
okay?
managers are ridiculously stupid. They think they have this big master plan, like all figured out, and then they just end up being stupid.
Hold on a second though.
Just like the
Hold on.
Dallas Mavericks GM. Like sometimes guys are just dumb, and
But
that's
at
the
least
answer. Just because they're
okay.
general managers and make millions of dollars doesn't mean that they're like
Oh,
smart or doing the right thing.
I I agree with that sentiment. Oh, of
Thank
course.
you.
Just because someone's in a position of power doesn't mean that they should be trusted with
I
that
mean, look
power. It
at
doesn't mean
Cashman.
that they're the
I mean,
best
come
person.
on.
Okay, seriously though. So-
Aaron Boone.
in all seriousness, though, I put together a list of receivers that went for and what their trade return was.
Okay. When is this from?
Bunch of years. The
Oh,
last
okay.
I don't
All
know,
right.
the last 6 years or so. This goes back to 1945.
Yeah.
All right. Some of these players are way levels of better. Well, levels, multiple levels above Deebo.
Okay.
Some of them are about
Some of them are
same.
probably worse.
Some of them are definitely worse.
Okay.
Significantly worse.
And
Okay.
they probably went for second rounders, but okay. Let's go.
I just want to this because I agree with you that the 5th round pick for Deebo seems very, very light. Okay. So it seems like elite wide receivers get first and seconds back. And here's why. So Stephon Diggs went from Bills to the Texans for a 2nd round pick. Texans also got back a 6th and a future 5th. So they got Diggs, a 6th, and the next following year 5th. And they gave up a 2nd.
Wow. Okay.
Ridley, now this was amidst the gambling suspension
Right.
coming off that, but he went to the Jags for a 5th and a future 3rd. But again, circumstances probably change that.
Yep.
But still, that's better than just a 5th. It's a 5th and then the following year 3rd.
Better than just a 5th. Okay.
Marquise Brown, levels below Deebo, right?
Yeah.
He went to the Cards along with a 3rd-round pick. So the Cardinals got Marquise Brown and a 3rd-round pick. They gave up a first.
What? Are you kidding?
No. A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Do you remember what they gave up?
They gave up a first and was it another pick? Maybe was it a first and a second?
Close.
First and a third.
Yeah. Better than Deebo. Significantly
Yes.
better than Deebo.
Yes.
But still, that's a lot.
That right.
Compared to, yeah. Tyreek Hill, obviously so much better than Deebo. Not even
Yes.
comparable, right? He went to the Dolphins for a 1st, 2nd, 4th, and then the following year, 4th and 5th. So, a lot of picks.
Oh my God.
There was a lot of competition for him, though. The Jets were in on
Yeah.
that. That would have worked out well for him. The Raiders traded for Devontae Adams. Guess what they gave up? Packers traded Devontae to the Raiders.
A
Just,
first.
what, 3 years ago? A 1st and a 2nd.
Oh my God.
Again, a lot better than Deebo, but still.
But still.
Yeah, I know.
Good
I'm with you.
God, man.
All right, this is someone that I think is comparable to Deebo now. Amari Cooper when he was traded to the Browns.
I have no idea what they gave up for him.
That was what, 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
He was probably on the similar level as Deebo is now, right? Similar.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So the Browns got Amari Cooper and a 6th-round pick, and they gave up a 5th and a 6th. So they basically gave up a 5th for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I would say that that's a ridiculous trade too.
I agree. And I think what we're seeing here is the elite receivers get a haul. The elite receivers get a haul. And that level or two below, like really good receivers that aren't elite, get there's no return. It's crazy. Julio Jones and a 6th-round pick to the Falcons for a 2nd and a 4th.
Julio Jones to the Falcons?
Sorry, I misspoke. Julio Jones from the Falcons to the Titans. Sorry.
For what?
Julio Jones and a 6th to the Titans, and the Titans sent the Falcons a 2nd and a 4th.
Yeah, that's ridiculous at that stage in his career. Insane.
Seems, yeah. Cards got DeAndre Hopkins and a 4th round for a 2nd and a 4th. So basically D-Hop for a 2nd.
Yeah. This is insane. This is like, what are we doing? Like, are you the dumbest? What are we doing? I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson. You know what he went for?
What did the Eagles give up?
A 3rd.
So that was a little bit of a different scenario, though. I think just the timing of it makes it different. So they did it like in training camp, right? Like in preseason,
right before, in preseason, basically.
I think that has to factor into this discussion. I don't know exactly how it factors in, like why it factors in, but I do think the timing of it does have to factor in. Like salary cap's an issue at that point. Where you're in the off season, it's less of an issue. I don't know exactly how it does, but I think that there has to be looked at separately because of the timing.
And
just like an in-season trade's different.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Like, are the 49ers, are they like tanking? Like, do they not
think so.
plan on being good next year? Like, serious question.
I don't know what their plan is. I don't know what their salary cap situation is. Maybe they have salary cap issues and they determined that, hey, they gave that extension to Ayuk, right? So we can't pay 2 receivers big money at the same time. Maybe. Because they're also paying CMC but I'm not familiar with their situation at all. But either way, even if you're trading him, the point is you would think that you'd get back better than a 5th. It does seem odd.
100%. And even again, even if it's a 5th, they have the 30th pick in the 5th round.
Yeah, I don't think that's that.
Here's one. How about the friggin' Patriots? Young up and coming quarterback, ton of draft picks. Their 5th round pick, much better than Washington's. You couldn't have gotten
maybe the Patriots didn't want him
from New England. Yeah, but okay, I think every team, obviously salary cap is a thing, but literally every team should give up their 5th round pick for that player. whether
No,
you need
no,
him or
no,
not.
no, 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 no,
If
no,
I
no,
was
no, no.
if I was the
That I
Eagles,
disagree with completely.
I would give up a 5th round pick for him if I
Why?
was the Eagles.
Why would you put that much? Why would you use your salary cap space on a third wide receiver?
I'm saying salary cap withstanding, notwithstanding.
But yeah, but okay, yeah, I agree with that. But what's your point?
My point is that the general manager, John Lynch, is an idiot.
He got hit in the head too much while playing.
He's an
Safety.
idiot. It's not quite as bad as the Dallas Mavericks
It's
or
not
the
even close
Philadelphia
to his
76ers, but it's bad, it's dumb, and thanks for just making Washington that much better for nothing. Thanks a lot.
I think that this is more of a question about trying to understand that second and third level receivers trade value in the NFL than it is about John Lynch being dumb.
Come on. T. Higgins is gonna walk. You can't go nab Deebo for a year for a 5th rounder. Dumb.
Wait, they just put the franchise tag on T.
Oh, did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah. I think clearly
no
if
such
a team
thing as a good second receiver, except for Devontae Smith.
clearly if a team was willing to give up a 4th or better, I'm sure they would have taken that. And I don't know, like you're saying, end of the 5th round, essentially a 6th round pick. I don't know, like how much value there is between pick 150 and pick 140. I don't know. I feel like that's not that significant. But so you'd still rather have the earlier pick, obviously. I just don't know.
You would.
That
Yeah,
lowers the return so much.
But maybe they have their eyes on the center from Arkansas, man. He's really good. God, if he falls to that pick, dude, what a steal.
All right, let's talk about something
Draft
fun.
preview coming up. Okay.
God, you're so ridiculous. the Myles Garrett trade rumors to the Eagles. How real do you think this is?
So I've heard mixed things. If I were to guess, if I were a betting man, I would say that it's not typically something that the Eagles would do. The reports are very conflicting. Howie Roseman spoke at the Combine and basically said they're not going to get him, but of course he's going to say that. I've read reports that they're very much in on him, and recently they were the odds-on favorite to get him in a trade. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't really know. I mean, I think he'd be. It's just not. It's not their style. Of course,
it's not their style. It's not their. Wait, what's not their style?
It's not their style to pay an edge rusher who's that age, that price, and give up that much draft capital for him. Because you know who else I wanted before this year started, if you can remember that far back, was Hassan Reddick. I wanted them to sign Hassan Reddick back, and
you wanted Bryce Huff.
Probably around the same. Hassan Reddick's probably a year older than Myles Garrett at this point.
Myles Garrett's better though.
Yes, he's definitely better, but it's just that the theory, the idea is the same. It's aging edge rusher who makes a shit ton of money, who they're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks for. Just doesn't seem like their style. I wouldn't rule it out. It might take a 5th round pick, dude. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're willing to give that up.
Khalil Mack was the only comp that I could find in recent years. In 2018, he was traded for a 1st and a 6th.
Oh, I would do that in a heartbeat. But Myles Garrett's better than Khalil Mack was at that point.
Khalil Mack was an elite pass rusher, though. I agree Garrett's better. Garrett's like a, top 2, top 3 pass rusher?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So, I mean, yeah, if that's the price, I think the price is going to be higher.
Well, maybe it's a first and a 4th. You would still probably do that either. It's more of your concern about the salary going forward as he declines.
Yes. Yep. Totally.
Interesting. He has 2 years remaining on his current contract also. Now, he wants an extension, but they could not give him an extension. And then he showed, but that's the thing. You bring him in, he's unhappy, he doesn't get an extension, then he holds out and pulls
the Hassan Reddick special, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's great. Also, so he previously restructured his contract with the Browns. So basically, if the Browns trade him before June 1st, which I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it's day 1 of NFL free agency. If they trade him before that, the Browns take a dead cap hit of $36 million in 2025. So I assume they trade him after that. But that complicates things for the Eagles, for any team that's trading, because then what are you doing in free agency? Are you not going to go after guys in free agency because you need to keep the cap space for a guy you might trade for?
Right.
That's kind of complicates it a little.
Yeah, it makes it a little risky. I'm sure all these conversations are going on right now. So all that stuff is going to be planned for.
I think you're going to be really, really amped if they get him. You're going to be
Oh,
really excited.
I absolutely would. I mean,
Yeah.
as good as their, I think we might have said this on one of the Super Bowl reaction episodes, but like as good as their defense was this year, they didn't have a stud edge rusher. I mean, they had some solid guys. Josh Sweat's really solid. He's not like a superstar. Nolan Smith came on towards the end of the year, but again, he wasn't like this total game wrecker by any
Yeah.
stretch. And
Brandon Graham's gone.
Brandon Graham's gone, but that's kind of how they've built their team. You know, they've built their team through really
Yep.
strong defensive lines, really good edge rushers. Hassan Reddick was excellent for them the past 2 years, and they didn't have that this year. It was supposed to be Bryce Huff, and he was a zero. So appropriate jersey number choice he had this year for for the Eagles.
All right. Next two segments, I think we're low on time. So let's go get through them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Sticking with the Eagles, Darius Slay released, 34-year-old corner. Assuming that's not a huge surprise, right? That was kind of expected.
So it's not a huge surprise, that is to be expected. He was awesome this year. He was a really, really good Eagle. One of the best Eagles corners in my lifetime. Really, really good player, man. Just awesome. Captain of the team. Was there for both Super Bowl runs. And just awesome. I think he had a lot to do with the success of the young guys this year. They speak very highly of him, Quinyon and Cooper.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the end for him, a tip of the cap, really good Eagle. I was wearing his, I have a Darius Slay jersey. That's good. I'll be able to wear that one forever because he's a Super Bowl champion. But interestingly enough, I thought he played excellent last year. And, maybe it was because the young guys were up and pushing him
The
and
metrics didn't
Quinyon.
like him. Like
Oh,
the
really?
PFF grades and all that stuff was bad on him, yeah,
Okay.
last year.
Yeah. Well,
Much better this season.
so I wonder what they would do, because a lot of people might not remember this, but they actually they released him before the start of 2023. They released him and he was a free agent,
this was
and
going to
then
be. I was going to ask you this next. Yes.
yeah, he basically they basically restructured his deal and brought him back. So there's a chance that I think that they might do that
He can come
again if
back,
he
yeah.
just comes back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe he said on his podcast that really the only places that he said he wants to play one more year. Like that's it. He's not looking for like this long-term deal. Wants to play one more year, and he essentially said he wants it to be with the Eagles or the Lions. He was drafted by the Lions. I guess he's still got some ties there. He really enjoyed his time there, and they also happen to be another really good team, another contender.
Really good
So
team.
yeah, those are the two spots that he would like to see. So maybe he takes a little bit of a hometown discount. I'd be totally okay with that. They have a couple of guys who I think would be ready to kind of fill his shoes if he does go elsewhere.
Who are the guys?
So Isaiah Rodgers was a guy who played a lot this year. Played pretty well.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He was on the Colts a couple years ago. He was suspended for gambling all of 2023. So he just came back this past year, and I thought played really well. Couple tough spots. Like he came in a few times for Slay when Slay left. He came in for Quinyon during the Packers game when Quinyon Mitchell left the game, and he played well. I think that he could take another step up. They also really like this kid Keely Ringo, who's another one of the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't think he's really been very good, but people inside the team really speak highly of him. So
Okay. All right. Maybe he'll be back. All right. Moving on. There's not much to say about this, unless I'm assuming you don't have much to say about it. But I think it's worthy to point out. So the Rangers made a trade on Sunday. They traded Ryan Lindgren, who's their third longest tenured Ranger, I'm pretty sure, and Jimmy Vesey to the Avalanche for a couple prospects and a second and a fourth conditional round picks. Lindgren's the centerpiece of the trade. He's been the Rangers' top 2 or top 4 defenseman for pretty much 5 years now. He's a guy that plays 20 minutes, gets 20 minutes of ice time average per game. He's been Adam Fox's defensive partner, but he's really fallen off over the last 2 years. Unrestricted free agent after the season. Makes sense to trade him, get something for him. Conditional second round is pretty good. But I think it's just signaling that the Rangers are, what we already know is that this has been a lost season, and there's no holding on to pieces that have any sort of trade value. So I think the trade deadline is, I think it's Friday. and I think the Rangers will be making a couple other moves, but just a really disappointing season, similar to what the Sixers are going through.
I was
Except
gonna
you don't have
say
that.
I can
You don't
relate.
have that. So at least the Rangers don't have that. Like that superstar. Like has the like his future looks like he has nothing left
Worst contract in the
physically.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have bad contracts. They have players that have fallen. Kreider looks terrible. Mika Zibanejad's look terrible. It's just been a really bad season. Ryan Lindgren was actually a really good player. He was one of those guys that, like, Adam Fox relied on him a lot. He was the guy that would stay home, a true defensive defenseman type, and he would be on against the other team's top two lines, top six, and but yeah, he took a beating over the years, and he's definitely not the same player. The Avalanche are getting him, and they're going to use him as like their sixth defenseman, which is what he should be at this point. The
Wow.
Rangers were using him as a top four defenseman, playing 18 minutes a game this year, and yeah, he's not that good. But put him on against a fourth line, back six, I think he could still be pretty good. So, and then Vesey's just a third, fourth line player. You throw him in the trade to increase the value. For the Avalanche, he's a fourth liner, so why not?
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's it. We'll be seeing more Rangers trades. And what have the Flyers been up? I think I saw the Flyers made a trade a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they made some moves like earlier on. I haven't really seen too much action. You know, a lot of times you'll see it get a little crazier, like right up to the deadline. I haven't really seen that with them.
All right, are we mocking New York fans on Twitter?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so the fan I'm going to mock is you. It's
all right.
you.
All
All
right.
right.
Not on Twitter.
Yeah, well, sort of. No. But I to
I know
paint
where
a
you're going with
picture
this.
for the audience, I wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. I go to sleep very early, as we've established on this podcast. So I get up at 4 a.m. I wake up, look at my watch. I see I have I'm like, who text messaged me in the middle of the night? And I open it up. And it's Andrew Joseph. And it's a link from Twitter.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
right.
open it up and I'm like, oh, okay, what is this? I think usually it's like something interesting or like
10:20 at night. Okay,
10,
middle of the
20
night.
at night. Are you sure it wasn't 1:20 at night? Because you must have been up late, like you must have had a hard time sleeping, because you were so fired up. But so usually
Fired
when
up.
you send me a text, it's like something interesting or like a statistic or
Yeah.
something numbers related. But
Yes, usually.
instead, it is an edit that a Knicks fan made,
Mm-hmm.
and it is OG Anunoby playing defense with his long arms to the theme of Halloween, like as if he's
Wait.
Michael Myers.
So I didn't even know that part.
You're kidding. Come on,
No, I'm not
dude.
kidding.
You are kidding.
No, I'm not.
You did not know. Michael Myers was in the video. Like they
I didn't
showed
pay
a
attention
clip
to that
of
part.
Michael. Oh my god!
In the very beginning, right?
You just loved the long arms. You couldn't stop thinking about how long Antidote. Yes, the very beginning.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was, but yeah, I got it.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You did
Do
not
really?
know who Michael Myers was, dude. Come on.
I
You
know.
don't know.
Like,
You've never
I know
seen
of
Halloween.
I've seen it, but I'm not familiar with the movie enough to be like, oh, that's who that is from that movie. I don't remember that movie that well at all.
Dude. Oh my god. This will have to be a segment where I wow.
Didn't we already go through this? I don't know pop culture at all. Like, this isn't surprising.
I mean, dude. Anyway, so you of all people, Mr.
Yeah.
Like, you can't look at someone's highlights and determine whether or not they had a good game or if they're really good or whatever the case may be. And I'm sorry, but for you to do that, I was like in shock. I was like, there's no way that this guy.
Did you watch it?
I watched every second of it, and I couldn't believe it. Like, listen, I get it. Like, you're just so smitten by the Knicks, and you got Michael Myers, OG Anunoby clips coming my way, and Josh Hart's the toughest guy. He's so tough, and I'm just like, you want me to watch a clip of Anunoby like playing defense on
I don't think you know.
Haywood Highsmith against the
Wait,
Miami Heat on
what?
a Sunday in March?
Wait, that's what you
And
took from the clip?
I'm being facetious, but
All right.
like,
So what did
yes,
you watch the clip?
I
Did you
watched
actually
the
watch the
clip.
clip with an open
Yes,
mind? Did you watch it with an open mind?
I
Did you
watched
watch it
it.
with an open mind?
I watched
With an
it.
open mind? No.
Yeah,
No,
yes.
that's
And
such a
his
lie. No, you
arms
didn't.
were so long, dude. And when Haywood Highsmith tried driving on him, dude, he shut the door. And it was,
So, dude,
you must have been so fired up.
I understand your point. It's kind of funny. It is unlike me to send something like that.
It's
I agree.
so unlike you, dude.
I'm with you.
Why
If
don't
I had
I should have sent you back the clip of Jason Tatum just driving by Anunoby and dunking on him a week earlier. Like, come on.
Okay, so I saw that play live. I saw this whole game yesterday, and I didn't. If I had the, if I really wanted to and I had the time, if I really felt like it, I could have put a clip together myself. I don't want to, but watching that game last night, OG was incredible. The clip I sent you, I saw it on Twitter, and by the way, there's a lot in there that shows his value. Understanding that these
It
are
was a
highlights.
minute long. It was a minute long highlight
Yeah,
clip.
but do you understand? Okay? So did you? What was he doing in those
Hold on.
clips?
Are you becoming an eye test guy now, dude? Wow.
What was he doing in those
You're
clips?
saying this is your way of saying I watched the game. This is your way of saying that.
What was he doing in those clips?
Playing basketball with long arms.
What was he doing? Who was he? What was he doing?
Defending.
Defending who?
He's defending 1 through 5.
Okay.
Hero, Highsmith, Adebayo.
In the fourth quarter, on 3 straight plays, he's defending Adebayo, knocks the ball away. Hero blocks a 3-point shot. Third possession, he's helping off Highsmith and forcing a turnover. So, yeah, these are highlights as a clip. It's kind of funny the way you're putting this together as a joke, and it is kind of funny that I sent this to you. But the point is I'm trying to show you that there's a lot of the value that he provides is so much more than just because he can't do a crossover. Like that's not his value. It doesn't do a crossover and get to the basket. Nikola Jokic, by the way, I should have said this last week. He doesn't do a crossover and drive. He's the best player in the world. You don't need to do a crossover and drive to the basket to be a great player.
I'm going to find so this is probably back in 2018,
By the way, this is a good
19
one.
maybe.
This was very good. Let's
Thank
mock New
you.
York fans on Twitter mocking me. I appreciate it. Very good.
I'm going to send you there's a clip. This must have been 2018 or 19. This was when prime James Harden, like MVP Houston Rockets James Harden. So probably 2018 or 19.
Okay.
He comes
Let's
to
hear the joke.
Philadelphia.
Let's hear the joke.
The 76ers had just picked up on a 2-way, just like off the street, or it was a 10-day contract. Corey Brewer, if you remember Corey Brewer.
Of course,
you know
I remember Corey
about.
Brewer.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So the Sixers signed him to a 10-day contract. He's playing, and he's just like played insanely hard defense on James Harden. Like picked him up full court, pressed him.
Okay.
And it's like one of these funny like stories in 76ers lore, fandom lore here. So
Okay.
I'm going to send you that. I'm going to send you, Corey Brewer getting a deflection on James Harden in 2018.
Send it to me.
And,
Send it to me.
and then we'll give him a max contract. We'll trade a 5th round pick for him and then give him a max contract and then win the championship.
So,
and I'll put it to Michael Myers' Halloween theme song.
Yeah, there you go. So the highlights. So there's a difference between watching a highlight or a clip and saying, "Oh, this is interesting. This is what he did here in this situation. It's interesting that he's capable of doing this," and drawing a conclusion about a player. Those are two different things. I would never draw a conclusion based on a clip or a highlight reel or a game or even a few games.
But isn't that what you were trying to get me to do? You were trying to convince me, look how great he is.
No, I'm just showing you that there's more value to his game that you probably don't see every day. You don't see him play defense like that because you don't watch the Knicks.
I have seen enough of him in his career to know that he's a defensive menace for sure, of course.
You said he's a pretty good defensive player. That's what you said.
I said he has long arms, which his long arms
All right.
make him a good defensive player.
All right. We mocked me. Subscriber questions.
All right. Go ahead.
At Rich_SBOZ. So at Rich_Spaz? Spose? Spose. What do you think?
SPOZ Spaz.
All right, Spose. Did you see the Fireside Knicks Instagram post asking who would win 94 Knicks or the current roster? So I sent this to you. I'm going to pull it up now. Let's see. You're seeing this.
Yes.
All right. So something about this image, by the way, is incorrect. I saw a lot of comments about it, pointing it out, but Derek Harper played point guard and John Starks was a shooting guard. People are very upset about that. I don't think that's really the point of the question.
Yes. That should ruin your day.
Yeah, people are very upset. You know how social media is. So, So what do you think?
Well,
And can we? Some people are getting really detailed. Well, what era are they playing in? Are they playing in this? Like, just
So I think
it's a fun little question.
Yeah, I think that it's now full disclosure. I was 4 years old for this Knicks team, so I don't really know a ton about them.
Okay,
but I
know just as much about them as you know about this current Knicks team.
Well, I can tell you, man, you must be
Mason had long arms.
I was gonna say Mason and Josh Hart, but they're also the two. Or no, was Oakley was the tough one on the team, right?
Mason and Oakley were both. They were both like the tough guys, Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have to give So I'd give scoring to the 25 team for sure. Close. Obviously. Yeah. Rebounding to the 25 team. Well, I don't know. Ewing, I don't know. No, maybe give rebounding to the 94 team. I would give.
This team's also a lot bigger. The 94 team's a lot bigger. Like Mason is probably bigger than OG is.
Right. So yeah, scoring goes to 25. Rebounding goes to 94. I would say playmaking, passing. I mean, you'd have to give to 25 just because Brunson
for sure
does everything. Toughness, I'd go 94, and wingspan, I'd go 25.
Okay, who would win?
Who would win the arm length? 25. No, I mean, I think this 25 team is really good. No disrespect to 94. I think Brunson's excellent. I think Towns is excellent. I think Bridges is excellent. Josh Hart is kind of that do-it-all guy, best rebounding wing in the league. I would give it to 25, but again, I'm not Mr. Knicks historian by any stretch.
Yeah, I think that 94 team is so reliant on Patrick Ewing. So, I mean, it would be really hard for any team from that era to play against a team from this current time because everyone could shoot on this like it would be so much easier for this team to play defense against that team. You put Brunson and Cat onto their worst two non-shooting players, and then you and then you make guys like you make Ewing play 30 feet out from the basket, which he would, if he had years and years to develop that ability, maybe he probably would have been really good.
Right.
But without ever doing that, there's no way he'd be capable of doing that. So
you just put OG on Ewing, and then everybody else, no one else can score, right?
That's going to be their strategy. Put OG on the big guy, and then put Cat on the worst offensive player on the court.
Do you still play 2K?
I haven't played 2K in a while.
You should. I was going to say you should simulate
play the 94 versus. Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten 2K in a couple of years actually.
Oh, really?
But, yeah. Good idea. I'm sure it's out there. I'll look for it. All right, last subscriber question. At JJNYR fan 7722. So that's weird because this person has a Sixers question.
Hmm.
This is the one we held off on.
The rare Sixers Rangers combo, man.
Yeah, unless NYRs doesn't stand for New York Rangers.
Yeah.
With Joel Embiid's knee injury shutting him down for the season, how concerned should the Sixers fans be about his long-term health? We talked about that already. Very. Does this change the team's approach for next season and beyond? That we started to get into and we held off. So yes, though, right?
So I think it should. I think it definitely should affect their long-term plans. The issue is I don't think there's going to be anyone willing to take it. Well, that's not true. The issue is that Embiid's contract is going to be a negative right now. So you're going to have to attach picks amongst other things to get off of him. But that's not really how you build a team. You want to keep your picks when you're in rebuilding mode. So if it were me, like, I don't know, but I could also see a world where it's like, hey, we've come this far. Like we've done the hard part. Like the hard part is getting Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey all together under the same team. But I mean, the health issues are just they are what they are. So if I was in charge of the team, I would just blow the entire thing up. Just say, okay, we're going to be extremely bad for the next 4 years, and then just start new. And when I say blow it up, I mean like everybody goes. Everybody. Maxey, Paul George, Jared McCain, Yabusele, like everyone goes. And
Yabusele is a free agent, so you can't really move him. Should do a sign and trade.
But yeah,
even McCain, like
even I don't know. I mean, while his value is high, yeah. I mean, what's the, I guess in theory you could keep him, but by the time they're good again, he's going to be. I mean, he'll still be young. He'll be 26 or 27, but why not just capitalize on him now while his trade value is really high?
Yeah.
Because you're going to need it. Because again, if you have to attach stuff to get off Embiid or Paul George, then you have to recoup.
I don't know how high his trade value is with the injury. By the way, I would think that it's not as high as it could be.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you so sure that they would have to attach picks and assets to Embiid?
Oh, I mean, who on God's green earth is gonna want to take that on?
I think you may be able to find a desperate team that's trying to make one last ditch effort. I don't know who it is right now.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
I think there might be a situation. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but maybe the Bucks. Brooke Lopez comes back, and I don't know, other pieces. I don't know.
I can't see it happening. I mean, maybe. I mean, it only takes one team, but I mean, I would be very shocked if it happens. The Paul George thing, like, I don't think that he's. It's weird. You watch him, and he doesn't. He's also hurt. Like he's got an injury on his hand. He's got a bad finger.
Yeah, he's having a terrible season, though.
He's having a terrible season, but I don't know. When I watch him, he just kind of seems like he's checked out to me. Like him, I think you could convince a team to take on because he just seems kind of like. And I like Paul George. I've always liked him. Obviously, he's having a horrible year, but like he just seems a little. I don't know. I get kind of like, yeah, like he's kind of like a front runner. Like when he's probably just not trying super hard. It looks like he doesn't care right now. Like he's not trying very hard, which honestly probably can't really blame him too much because you come into the season expecting really big things and it's been anything but that. So it's I think it's kind of a natural human thing to do when you're his age and you're thinking, okay, I'm not gonna like continue to beat myself up and lay my body on the line for a lost season. So if I were him, maybe I take it easy for the next 20 games and hope everyone can get healthy, by next fall.
God, his numbers are so pathetic. He's shooting 43%.
Yeah, but he
What?
doesn't. Again, he doesn't physically look like, you know,
He's shooting
like he's washed or
36% from
anything.
3, so it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, for him, that's bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. He looks.
I
The
think
numbers are bad.
I think you would have a better luck trying to get
Oh,
off of Paul George's contract.
yes, yeah. Yeah, there's a team that'd be willing to take Paul George. There's a team out there that'd be willing to take him. Again, though, you need a team that's kind of desperate, though. Because any team
That's
that's
okay.
like not in a desperate situation is not going to take on a contract like that.
Sure. Yeah. That's okay. We'll get one.
There's desperate teams out there. I mean, the Warriors were desperate. They traded for Jimmy Butler and then extended him.
Uh-oh. Here he comes. We should have thrown what's the Knicks record against the Warriors, by the way, man? That's, speaking of top teams.
I don't think
Playoff
the Knicks
Jimmy,
have played them
Steph.
yet.
Wow.
They play them tomorrow night for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, they just lost to Philadelphia, dude. So
They did?
Yeah, remember your boy Quentin Grimes, or the 44
Quentin
piece,
Grimes.
dude.
Yeah.
I've never said anything bad about Quentin Grimes, dude. Super excited when they got him,
Is he as good as Caleb Martin?
No.
All right. That's it.
That's it.
I'm excited for baseball.
I'm getting a little excited, yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Philly pride and Sistad soul. Andrew rapping and wild bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Fingers and wide. Who the call? Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, Sistad, glad unite. Philly and Y in the spotlight.